with my leftover paint. I'm just going to keep working on it. So you guys can watch on the TV, or you can come closer, either or. So I'm going to try and show you a bunch of different techniques. So one is masking. So masking is when we block something off. So say we want a hard edge somewhere. Oh, I still got some wet paint in here. Oh dear. And my blue tape, where might that be? I think I had
it out yesterday.
I think I had it last. Here it is.
Blue tape.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I think, yeah. I used it on my sketchbook. Okay, so there's a thing in painting about edges, about hard edges and soft edges. And in nature, if we're doing landscapes, there's going to be some hard edges, right? I mean, there's rocks and there's the hard edge of where the sea meets the sky, right? That's kind of a hard edge. But then we've got lots of kind of soft organic edges. We've got both things happening. And so there are contrasts and differences in the overall landscape. So one way that we can create some hard edges is using masks. So I've cut this. You can use something like UFO paper so that you can wipe it off. This is multimedia. It's Terrastone by a different name because they're out of business. But so I'm going to use a contrast here, which I guess is going to be red iron oxide or burnt umber would be good too. If I have a smidgen in here, let's see.
I have no problem for that, you know?
Yeah, no, it's okay. Squash enough out of here. Okay, so I'm looking for some contrast in there. I am going to use a scraper. So you can see I'm putting this on raw umber, burnt umber, is not transparent. But I'm putting it on thin enough that it's becoming transparent. So this is a way of adding a lot of depth and adding some strong marks to your work. And if you use tape, you can get some interesting, like save some stuff, get some interesting lines and marks. So that's one thing we can do. Then we can do some transfers. So I will transfer something on in a few places. So this could work good in what you're doing there on yours, Linda. Let's see.
For texture. You mean at the bottom?
Yeah, anywhere. I'm just gonna show you. I'm just gonna show you a bunch of techniques. I'm not trying to paint a painting yet.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna put some paint on here. And I'm going to take something, maybe this. So I'm going to transfer this over here. You see how those little scratchy marks?
Oh, that's cool.
And I had some wet paint there that lifted. So I'm going to try
Yeah, I like
cool.
that.
Neat.
Yeah.
so we can get some kind of organic marks that we couldn't get otherwise, right?
Yeah, the scratchy scratchy from the undergrowth and for bushes. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I just need more calm, serene strokes.
But you might need more interest in the front.
Right.
So let's just make some scratchy marks in there. Over here. A little bit scratchy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way you can take paint off. Other things you can do is use a pastel as a resist. So this is oil, so it's not going to dry, but it's going to resist the paint. If I put more paint on here.
It is going to resist?
Yeah, because it's oil. It's oil pastel. So other things we have are charcoal. Dan's got so much paint on. The problem, I put charcoal in wet paint, so. Okay, so some charcoal. And then there are water soluble art graph sticks as well. These are going to do something totally different. I like taking these just out if you want to do some sketching outside.
So you said art graph?
Art graph, yeah. Kind of triangular. Okay, so I'll try those few things before I move on. So, okay, so you're going to see with this that it's probably going to move, right? I'm going to be able to tint
Those are like
something.
the Neo color twos?
Kind of like neocolors, yeah.
Okay.
And so that's my pastel. It's not going anywhere, ever. I'll just show you something with it in a minute. In the meantime, how much white paint here. So if I put white over top of my charcoal or yellow, it's going to change the color, right? You're going to get some
Black into it.
muddy kind of colors happening, which can be nice. Once I build up some thicker paint, I do this a lot. I scratch back into my work. You see that? Oh, if you look at my work, you'll always see
Yeah.
scratching and scribbles. Okay, so that was soluble as well. Let me use yellow on it. So I got yellow and blue. So I'm going to get a new color. So I've got acrylic on there, so that should seal it in. I'll put teal over this, and it's pastel. I think I'll use a scraper. Just want to clean this off. Okay, so teal. So it will not stick to that. The paint won't stick to that. It's going to always show. So it can be fun. Let's see, what else can you do? Stencils, chalk pastels. So chalk pastels are chalky and they have to be framed under glass. But as a mixed media artist, I do like using them. So I've got some high spots in places, not too many, but as you work on your painting, you can get a lot more high spots. So by just rubbing this against your high spots, so this is a way of kind of bringing a little subtle effect of color into your work. But if you put water over top of this, it's all going to move. It's not stable at all because it's chalk. So you need to seal it. Sealer, where are you? Okay, here's the big bottle. I had a little spritzer. Okay, so you can use this Spectrafix pastel fixative, which is non-aerosol, or you could use a working fixative. So we would just spray this. I suppose it's plugged. Yeah, I had a little bottle that was primed up, but don't know where it is. Okay. Anyway, that's the idea.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
gonna worry about it. So I do that. I use that a lot in my work, and you want to build up some texture. You can use things like pastes and stuff. So pastes are white. They dry. They act like white paint. So this is fiber paste, so it kind of gives a watercolor texture. This is getting kind of dry. But say for instance,
I was gonna say, do you mix your color with that? Yeah.
yeah, you can mix your color
Yeah.
with it. So now this becomes thick and textural.
I've used that and I like that idea.
And I'm gonna just do it with this dirty scraper. So it's going to allow me to build up a lot more texture. And I'm getting some striations there because I had color on my sleeve on my catalyst. So this is building up layers and the differences that you get. So you want to do anything like this texture at the front of your painting. That's where we would see more texture close up. We wouldn't see a big, texture way far back in the mountain. We wouldn't be able to see that. We would see it up close to us. So that's where to put your texture. So you can also bulk up paint with some gel. So just regular gel medium, or there's different weights of gel, heavy body. So gel dries clear. Anything that has the word gel, it dries clear.
Okay.
So let's see. I'll do some teal on this with gel. It also makes your paints more transparent because basically what gel is the same stuff as in your paint, but it doesn't have pigment in it. It's a polymer binder. And it comes in different weights, from soft, regular, to heavy body.
And what is that? That's regular?
Yeah, regular gel.
Okay.
And that's the stuff you can use with the collage as well.
With heavy paper, otherwise I would just use a more fluid.
Like the fluid mediums, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this has the gel in, so gel is not white. It's clear, so it's going to retain the color of your paint. So I'm going to drag some over some of these layers as well. So when you add gel, it makes your paint a little slicker, and it also makes it more transparent, and it makes it stay wet longer. So might be able to turn this into a bit of composition. I don't like that. Let's get rid of it. So that's adding gel. Now we can use other types of mediums as well. One being crackle medium. So there's two kinds of crackle. There's Chroma's crackle, which is acrylic and it cracks, and then there's Golden's crackle paste, which is really thick, and you've got to put it on heavy, and I've had problems with it
I've used that.
coming off.
That's cool.
So the Chroma crackle, so there's something in here. It's basically acrylic, but there's something in it that causes it to craze. which we normally don't want, but if we did want it. So you can put it on and let it craze and it'll kind of dry white, or we could put a color in it.
I wasn't sure about that. Okay, so you can.
So I'm going to put some gold in it, and this one is not going to do this right away, but I want a contrast, so I'm going to put it over top of this brown. The heavier you put it on, the heavier the cracks are going to be.
And Pat, did you say if you don't put color in,
It'll
dries?
just
Clear.
Clear or
kind of
white?
wet. Well, it's clear, but the crevices are white.
Okay.
Yeah, it just kind of crusts up. Okay, so that's gonna take some time. Okay, so what else can we do here?
So I notice you have a lot of silicone brushes and scrapers and things. You don't really have a lot of, per se, bristle brushes in your
Hey,
pots here, is that?
Hey, Gally.
That was the word. Bristle brushes.
Gally's on my brush drawer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's large. There's lots.
Just got lots of brushes.
It's this long. And it's right over there.
Oh, look at that.
Just where it says
Brushes, tools, and gloves.
Brushes, yes. And there were 2 drawers of happy toys.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, probably 3. Yeah, there's
Oh,
3
really?
drawers of
Okay.
happy
So this
toys.
is just what you have out at this time.
Yeah. What I learned with the golden crackle paste is if you put the acrylic color in it, it won't crack.
Yeah,
I
the
was
paste
told
is-
you have to put the watercolor. Use the
Oh,
watercolor in it, and
Oh,
then it will
interesting.
crack because the watercolor is just water.
Right. Yeah, so the paste is totally different, and you have to put it on thick, and I've had it pop off of canvas.
Come right off the canvas.
Yeah,
That's not.
And I'm
nice.
sorry, what's that? You're right there?
titanium white.
Oh, that's just titanium white. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm mixing a white, and I'm going to show you how you could use a roller, a paint roller. So let's see. I want to make a mask here, I think. So I will turn this into a
It's turning into an art
landscape.
piece.
This is perfect. Let's see the process.
So, doesn't matter which one I use. I've got stuff on it already. Okay, so that kind of looks like maybe it might be hills, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So there's something about putting it on with a roller that can be different than a brush or a scraper. It's a fast way of at least getting your first layer down.
Mm-hmm.
And making a mask can also give you some nice form.
It gives you a better shot at a uniform color too.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So now-
Very nice.
Now, once there's a bit of a feeling of a sky, then, you know, this starts to make sense. Okay, so stencils. Here. To find a little dry spot here. So I like using these cheap makeup brushes from the dollar store for my
really?
stenciling.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, I'll go with contrast here. I'm gonna put some dark dots. Now, when I use a stencil, I don't like to completely fill in the dots, or I don't like to fill in the whole square, right? That looks like, oh my God, she used a stencil.
Yeah, it's not random enough. Okay.
Okay, so now I'm adding a little bit of dark. repetition is a good thing. Don't put something in one place and not putting it in another. Now we can do some reverse stencil as well. I don't know if I can get much off. This is where you need a brayer. I don't have my brayers out, but you might be able to take a little bit of reverse stuff off the stencil. Okay, what else can we do? Oh yeah, there's so many things. What about, I use woody stabilos a lot and China markers. So woody stabilos and graphite and charcoal pencils and you name it. Okay, so woodies are a waxy crayon and they are water soluble as well. So that doesn't mean I don't use them, and I just keep painting. I don't never seal this in. Well, I shouldn't say never. If it's on my top layer and it hasn't got any of the acrylic over it, I do seal it before I varnish because it will lift up.
Okay.
That's nasty because it'll run on your painting, not what you want to see. Okay, so we can use stuff like that too.
So you're going right into the wet.
I do go into the wet
You
paint.
can. Yeah, the woody stabilos also are water soluble, so they like playing in wet paint too.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's big fat charcoal if I wanted to really add some dark, or this is nice, the Lyra graphite pencil is nice for adding some marks. So let me juice up some,
Just get the black stabilo going.
yeah, do I have one here? No.
I've got one.
I have one or two or three, but I don't know where they are. Okay. Oh, the Markle.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that charcoal?
No.
No.
Stabilo Markle.
Stabilo mark?
It's awesome.
Oh.
It's
Okay.
wicked dark when you get it with water.
Okay, so again, using a palette knife as a tool, you can get some nice marks. And then, yeah, this is a Markle. You can write and scribble in. And let me get this somewhere where we can just put water on. Yeah, just try and keep your nibs clean so that it doesn't end up. My brush son doesn't end up ruining your nib. So you have to resharpen it.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll turn dark, a lot darker, but it also stays like in the wet paint. So, okay, let's put a little charcoal somewhere. And again, charcoal is not, it's soluble. So, okay, I'll have to use this color. So I'm gonna be mixing gray out of it. But if I wanted to save some of that, then the Spectrafix would work to save it. Okay, maybe I'll mark into this. Okay, so that is gonna crack. If this was a landscape, I would need some dark paint down at the bottom.
How long does it take to crack?
Probably till tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, what do I have here? So you can use things like your picks or these. Try and get it a little bit more.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do, just go over there and cover that completely.
Okay, can't really see what I'm doing. Anyway, so this has a lot of busyness now, and it needs some strength with maybe some more hard shapes in places, maybe back there. So, let's see, I got a little You can also cut your own stencils and go inside them too, like if you want big shapes.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no end to what you can do. That's going to be wet there. Let's see. Turn this over, angle it. No, I had some wet paint underneath it. That's okay. In fact, I could maybe transfer that off. Not much. Okay, that transferred some. Yeah, so and you just keep going and going and going. But eventually you got to clean up this big mess, right? Because it's busy, it needs some cleaning up, it needs some pushing back, but you get enough stuff down and you start looking at it and making decisions. So theirs are just a ton of techniques. Oh, there's other ones too, like you can use really fluid paints like high flow, or you could use some ink for glazes or runs or drips. So this is just acrylic ink. So it's great for glazing. So you can get that kind of thin watercolor. I'm going to blend in my charcoal.
You get that wild green,
Wild green. Yeah, so
outer space green.
this is, I don't know, it's a really olivey. And if you're going to use these inks, you need to invest in some pipettes because
Yes.
these never work.
They never make it go all the way down to the bottom.
Right. So frustrating.
The thing is only stops halfway and you have the whole rest of the container. It's just maddening.
Yeah. So you can also blot stuff up. So if I glaze over all of that, I'm going to get some green happening there. But we can do some spritzing. So you could use alcohol. I don't think I have any handy. Is there? No, there's no bar over there. I don't have, but you could spray it with alcohol, but I'm just going to use some water.
Easy brushing liquid adhesive? No?
No, that's to add gold,
Okay.
gold leaf. Yeah, so I'm just going to paper. I'll give that back to you, thank you. So we can blot, oh, that blotted an awful lot up. Let me try it with some acrylic. So we can soften our edges as well. Okay, I need this to be kind of fluid. Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm actually going to try doing it with wax paper. Less absorbent. Okay, so you can see
Yeah,
a little
picked
bit
it
where
up.
the water was. Now I have this. I'm going to put somewhere else as well. So you can just kind of keep going and going.
So
adding bits
this
and
is sort
pieces.
of where you're not introducing any new colors, you're just playing with the ones you've got going on.
Exactly, my primary
Okay.
palette plus, well, I had umber and then this greeny colored
And so
pink.
that's what makes it start to look like